favourite tennis player now that Wimbledon's coming up? I bet.
Oh well, nobody likes him, so I must like Lendl.
Ivan Lendl.
It's very difficult being perverse. I mean, to glue yourself to Ivan Lendl and say that the charm doesn't come through on the court, but it's all there in private. You know?
Who do you root for at Wimbledon, Victoria?
No, Teddy Tinling.
Teddy Tinling, yes. Well, I hadn't been there. Who was that? Big Bill Tilden was my favourite.
Who's he?
Big Bill Tilden?
Yes, do tell.
He was the only child molester to become champion at Wimbledon. I think he's dead, so that can go out, but...
Well, I can tell you...
I don't think it's a sponsorship deal. I mean, I don't think...
That's enough of your reputation for being perverse.
Well, enough of that, yes.
Did you have a precocious talent? How early did it manifest itself, this...
First volumes of poetry when I was about 4. All destroyed during the Blitz. No, I think I used to write for Punch before I reached puberty. And 4 guineas you got at a section called Charivaria. Yeah. And you made a little comment about the news. And they sent you 4 guineas. But the onset of puberty made me unable to contribute to Punch. It's not that I had other things to do. I went sending them off still, but they're all rejected.
You're sort of the Rambo of humour, were you? All your best work was behind you.
I see myself more as the Marquis de Sade of humour, or the Verlaine.
Were you confident at Cambridge? Were you?
I was eventually very. I arrived there like anybody else, and my first day I ran into a group of, turned out to be mathematicians and scientists around this big table at Pembroke. And so I did what I thought was normal. Let's go out and see what the pubs are like. And I did that, and none of them ever bought a round. And I never saw them again until my last year when they emerged blinking into the sunlight, and all with first-class honours. But my second year, when I got into footlights, yeah, I became very overconfident.
I never asked you, Victoria, did you do any work at university at all?
No.
Did you get a degree?
Yes. BA, oh, go on then.
You're very, very shy about that, are you? Do you have regrets about the academic career you might have had?
No.
What about you, Peter? Do you have any
regrets? I regret in retrospect that I was never asked to be a spy. And I never asked to be a mason.
Why weren't you asked to be a spy? I know why I wasn't asked to be. I wanted to be very much approached by MI5 and never was. That's because I was an Australian and they were regarded as potential traitors. But I should have thought, you know, you're a gent and everything, you were perfect casting.
Yes, a theatrical background as well, that should have been.
Would you have been one if they'd asked you?
Well, I would like to have been a spy, yes. I'd still like to be a spy, but now... I've blown my cover, I suppose, though. If any foreign government approaches me, I would spy for them. I would betray my country's secrets at, well, I don't know how, what's your price? I certainly wouldn't betray them for having been seduced by an Arab. The gay squaddies of Cyprus. And of course, we're not allowed to read about the case because all our secrets have been given to the Russians, and therefore, we, the British, must not know what secrets have been given to the Russians. And that nice Norwegian has gone to jail for 20 years, who's betrayed the Norwegian secrets. The Norwegian secret being that, if attacked by the Russians, they'll capitulate. Our secret is that we will follow. I hope. I hope there's no resistance when the tanks roll into Hampstead after their Channel crossing.
There may be an element of truth in all this. I'm going to roll straight on and say I'm going to ignore the next 20 years when you left Cambridge and revolutionised the whole of British humour and decreated the climate which we all still inhabit.
Enjoying.
And I'm now going to ask you what inspires you at the moment. Are you a British television? Is that, you regard that as raw material? Do you like British television?
No, I don't know if Victoria was saying earlier, I never observe anything. I think I like watching television a great deal, but I don't sort of make notes on anything. I watch things, well, I had to be perverse. I watch Zora the Slave Girl on Channel 4, which is a Brazilian program. Yeah. Australian rules football was on a few months ago.
Which not even Australians can understand.
No, it's very good.
What about Arthur C. Clarke's?
Arthur C. Clarke, it's a very good British program. Arthur C. Clarke in Sri Lanka, surrounded by body servants, casts a glazed eye over firewalkers. And, oh, last week they had some remarkable people who...
Hopping over the coals.
Hopping over
very
the coals.
swiftly. I made it. Their feet were burning.
But did you like the people who had hooks placed in their flesh?
Yes, I like that.
In their back, and then they hung.
Like a hammock, upside-down hammock.
Hung from their back for religious reasons.
No.
Or was it a...
I think it was to show they didn't care about God anyway, and the hook still didn't go.
Well, it is religious reason, isn't it?
Is it?
Showing you don't care about God.
I suppose it is.
I think it's all sponsorship again. That glue firm. I love that one where the man jumps up and hangs from the glue. That commercial.
In his overalls.
Yes.
That must be awfully strong overalls.
That's very good. I like the Vortex ad as well.
The Vortex ad?
What's that?
Vortex is a very thick bleach. It clings to the toilet.
That's right.
Even after flushing.
Very reassuring.
I suspect the Vortex attacks the occupant of the toilet. I mean, it kills, like all the others, it kills all known germs, leaving the unknown germs to flourish. Only famous germs are killed by these bleachers. Shy killer germs just sort of say, oh, and I like that. What's the body mist? Impulse.
Where he buys the flowers.
Impulse, yeah. Apparently, if you put on Impulse, you smell so awful that people throw flowers at you.
Are you a connoisseur of commercials, Victoria?
I like that one for smelly carpets. They say, does your carpet smell of... And they can't think of anything. Because people's carpets don't smell. They say, oh, cigars, dogs, cigars and dogs. And that's awful, because you don't... I mean, I've never smelt anybody's car.
There are commercials that I can't understand. There's a whole thing about Abdul the Bulbul, which I still don't know what it's advertised.
That's Fox me.
It's a beer.
Yeah.
I think it's a documentary. I don't think it's a commercial.
Why am I supposed to drink it just because 6 guys riding a cycle through the sky dressed as Arabs singing a bad song? Tell us about American television.
I was in it. I was on it.
American sitcom.
American sitcom.
I hear they're a bit like the Church of Scientology. They're almost impossible to get out of once you're in them.
Oh, yeah, once you're in. The first thing I'd learned, normally over here, if you sign a contract, you're sort of committed to it. But in America, if you go to a second year, you renegotiate. The first thing my agent said was, Peter, I may have to ask you to stay at home. I said, why is that? He said, well, you'll be in dispute. I said, what with? They were perfectly nice people. He said, no, you'll just be artistically in disputation with these people. A friend of mine actually was in a sitcom for 3 years, and he couldn't bear it any longer. And he drove into a tree, which he injured himself enough to get out of it. And then they turned it into a series. A man drives into a tree, and what happens to him afterwards? But the demands of the stars get more, they get beautifully ridiculous. Redd Foxx, who used to just tell filthy jokes. And then he was in Sanford and Son, which is Steptoe and Son translated to America. And he'd asked for all the money in the world and everything else. He decided to have a new thing to complain about the 3rd season. He complained about the view from his dressing room. A huge trailer. He said, I can't stand this view. Oh, I'm not coming back with this view. He's black, by the way. Well, he was when I last saw him. And so, oh, I'm very sorry, Mr. Fox, it's very little we can do. You can get a better view in here. And they erected a huge screen outside his dressing room and projected waves coming in or snow scenes, whatever Mr. Fox wanted. Naked women were projected onto the screen and thrown into his trailer.
We want to hear a lot more about that, but we're running out of airtime, so we have to continue that with the lights off. For the moment, I have to say, Victoria Wood and Peter Cook, thank you. Thank you very much.